Today, I'm going to talk to you about how I plan to build a culture of collaborative engagement within the school district and within my building. So, I've been tasked with bringing together our students, our staff, and our parents to build a highly engaged culture. Defining collaboration is engaging in regular routines where teachers communicate about classroom experiences in an effort to strengthen pedagogical expertise and push colleagues to try new things. So, some of the outcomes of this work that we'll be doing is that it improves instruction, it contributes to the school improvement as a whole, and it addresses the diverse needs of our learners. In order to make this work, the first thing I would do is create some structures and routines, specific times to meet, specific people that will guide these different teams. Department chairs will guide their department teams. Maybe I'll have some people who are on grade level teams meeting, and we'll have people from that grade level head those teams. So, structuring those routines, creating some type of agenda that they can build off of, and some type of reporting system so that we can all stay on the same page. We'll have a Google form that they fill out each week that they meet, and then we'll be able to share those discussion points and the data and the learning that takes place that it impacts the entire building as a whole. I will create some school-wide norms. Number one, that learning and progress is at the root of our conversations, that data will drive our discussions and drive our progress. So, bringing to the table what our learning looks like now and setting those goals to where we'd like to get our learning to go to. Strategically creating teams. So, not only having department level teams and content level teams, but also creating some cross curricular teams that are based more on um, interests or more in strategies, having teachers in different groups work on a specific strategy, or we've had passion PLCs where people who are all interested in standard based grading, they will meet once a quarter. People who are all interested in engagement strategies. They study and share engagement strategies so that they're very specific. And we also have those cross curricular teams when we do our school faculty meetings and back to school meetings where we have some more relationship and culture building there. And so we make sure to divide up our teachers, but then keeping some of those teacher leaders in every group to help lead and move forward. And then finally, having a systematic way to provide feedback to those teams. So, using a rubric that maybe we design as an entire staff. So, using that rubric of our expectations of each other in our PLC meetings and our curriculum meetings and what we're trying to drive for, so that when I'm providing feedback, it is expectations they've created for themselves as staff. So, when teachers sit down to meet together, it's going to ultimately impact student learning. So, they'll have reflective conversations between the educators, create we have creative problem solving, bringing their issues to the table, allowing others to weigh in their thoughts or how they might solve those problems or troubleshoot. They'll be able to discuss specific students and the support that those specific students need, analyzation and collection of data, which will be huge for them to see as a whole how people are doing in those areas in those contents, and the ability to differentiate and provide support to our students. So between those PLCs and then starting to branch out at that point then to involve our families. So building culture of collaboration and then extending that into the community. So our family focus is the number one thing we'll need to do is streamline our communication. Specific regular intervals that teachers should be communicating with parents as a whole, whether that be through newsletters or emails, letting teachers maybe vote or go by PLC decisions. But teachers would regularly contact parents and being even more specific than that on a weekly basis. And then having a streamlined communication for administration to reach out to those families. And so, probably by email is the most common way that families are going to check and hit the most impact for people who are going to get that information. Maybe also creating a Facebook page for parents of the school so that we can keep them informed. And then extending and stretching to all families. So, really considering what we need to do to meet the needs of every family. What language barriers might exist that we need to overcome, what just family dynamics exist. Maybe there's two working parents, maybe there's a single parent working, and how can we reach them and make being involved in our school an easy and enjoyable thing for them to add to their plates. Educate our parents. So maybe starting with just some short little videos that come out with the administration newsletter. And those videos will just have very short little tips on learning, on reading with your students, on setting up a good study environment. And then finally, getting that learning connected. So, helping them to have a view of what's happening in our building, sharing photos, sharing short videos of instruction, sharing student products of their learning. Eventually moving to an event that would be having like a showcase of student work and letting parents come with their students and have their students show them the work and the learning that has occurred. Continuing to build that bridge to our community, create some leadership teams that include parents, teachers, community members, and administration. So, this might be our site council team, that we actually bring issues in the school to this team, diverse with parents, students, teachers, community members that might not even have students in our building, but they have, kind of that buy-in factor from being a community connection. And then bringing our problems to them or things that need some troubleshooting, getting suggestions from them, as well as sharing in our successes with them. Create a needs assessment for the community. So, really, as a team, the first thing we'd want to do is create that needs assessment, see what the needs are from the parents. How could we include more of them? In what ways do they want to be included? Building level coordinator, or possibly by building levels. So, if we can't in our district afford to have a coordinator of community relationships in every single building, maybe having one that just does high school, just does middle, and a third one that does elementary would really help to focus those community events that are appropriate for the grade levels. And then finally, educating our stakeholders, allowing them to understand the changes in technology, the changes in learning, and really helping provide the research, like John Hattie, using research and other examples to help them understand what education looks like today. And knowing that education is not reflective of what it was 40 years ago.